Hey everybody, and welcome back to my top 50 board games of all time. Today I'm counting down from number 40 to number 31. So let's get started at number 40. So at number 40 I have a very small little game called No Thanks. Now this is a game where you're trying to get as few as points as possible. There are cards numbered from 1 to 35 and you're going to reveal them one at a time, and all you're going to do on your turn is you're either going to choose to take that card as points, which you don't want, or you can place one of these tokens on them which passes on to the next player. But the trick is each one of those tokens you put down is worth a negative point at the end of the game, so it kind of chips one off the points, which is obviously good for you, and it also gives you more potential to pass on future cards. So there's a really cool decision of whether you're going to put another chip on it, or are you going to take the cards and all the chips on that card as well. You know, what's going to be more beneficial? It's got a cool kind of pushy like element to it. It's almost like a reverse kind of bidding thing. A very smart, very punchy little game that plays a lot of players, and you know, 3 to 7 players, takes about 20 minutes to play, if that. Just a fantastic little game that I'd recommend to anybody. That is No Thanks. At number 39, I have the Chronicles of Crime. Now, this is an awesome game that uses a kind of your mobile phone. It has digital app kind of integration, where you are trying to basically solve these different murder mysteries and different crimes and so on. But you do it by scanning QR codes on these different cards. So all the different characters, all the different locations, and all the different evidence all have a unique QR code, and you're basically almost exploring these crime scenes by using this VR headset, and basically picking up evidence and then kind of cross-examining that evidence, or interrogating people about them, or asking people about other people. It's a very dynamic game, lots goes on, stuff that you would never expect, twists and turns, a very dramatic kind of storytelling style game. I think if you introduce this to a lot of players who haven't played kind of board games, they'll be quite fascinated about what you can kind of do now in modern board games. A very fun game, and said, just lots of twists and turns and just so interesting. Highly recommended. That is the Chronicles of Crime. At number 38 I have last year's 37 with Battle Line. This is one of my favorite 2-player games. It's a poker style game where you have these 9 different pawns, and you're playing 3 card poker hands, 1 card at a time on these different flags, trying to beat your opponent. You've got to be careful about what you've got or what hands you can make compared to what other people can do, because they might have cards that you want and vice versa. Extremely tense game where almost every decision you make feels like it's the end of the world. It's an absolute classic. I think it's over 20 years old now, by the master Rainer Knizia. Just an elegant masterpiece in my opinion, and a must-have for every collection. That is Battle Line. Next I have very much a hidden gem in my opinion. This is Cheyenne. Now Cheyenne is a worker placement style game, but also has some really cool kind of simultaneous card selection, and also some pretty decent hand management, because on your turn you are going to draw 4 cards, and you're going to split those cards into 2 piles of 2. And those cards are going to have different information on them, such as the actual power you're going to get from them, but also the initiative you have. And obviously the more powerful the cards are, the higher the initiative is. So you've got to be careful about which cards you're going to burn off and use for the initiative, or which cards you're going to use the power for but forsake that initiative. It's a really clever game where you're trying to kind of build these little statues to get points, and then you can paint them your colours in terms of getting area majorities. So you've got loads of mechanisms there. As I said, you've got the worker placement, you've got the area control, you've got the cool card play. As I said, this is very much a hidden gem, and I really recommend you check this one out if you like your Euros. It's extremely it's very easy to learn and teach, and it plays in less than an hour as well. So it has a really nice sweet spot in terms of its complexity and its kind of depth and also length. So an absolutely brilliant game. That is Cheyenne. Next at number 36 I have last year's 25 with For Sale. This is probably, in fact it is my most played game of all time. It's a simple filler style game where it's split into 2 halves. The first half of the game you are basically, it's an auction style game where you're bidding on these properties. They're numbered from 1 to 30, with 30 being the best. and you have a very limited amount of money, so you've got to be very careful about how you use it. And then the second half of the game, once you've got your property, you are placing values of money down in chronological order, and then everybody is simultaneously playing a property that they've accumulated in the first half of the game, and then based on the higher the numbers, they're going to take the highest amount of cash. But there's a really cool kind of decision here where you've got to kind of guess what other players are going to play, so that you don't go too high in order to get the biggest card, but you want to go just high enough so that you get more value out of your cards. It's a game with nice little nuances, and been a huge success with whoever I've played it with. This is for sale, just an absolutely brilliant, if not a perfect filler game. Next, at number 35, I have Merlin. Now, Merlin is it's a game by Stefan Feld, who's one of my favourite designers, so spoiler alert, there are some more of his games on this list. But this one is quite interesting because it uses a roll and move mechanic. So you are rolling dice, you've got 3 different coloured dice if you use the expansion, that is, and you're going down around this rondelle. So the order in which you use these dice is very important because whatever space you land on is what action you get. And there's loads of different things you can do, such as having area control. You've got collecting these shields in order to fight off negative points. If you've got this white dice as well that uses Merlin, which can go clockwise or anti-clockwise around the rondelle, but it also affects all the other players because everybody has control of Merlin. And you've also got a black dice as well if you use the expansion, which I wouldn't play without the expansion, that moves Arthur, which is on a kind of a smaller rondelle in the middle of the table, again, which affects all players. I actually really do enjoy this game. It's fairly light for a Stefan Feld game, but I think there's enough going on to keep it engaging, and it looks beautiful. It's just a really nice game, and I do enjoy it. A bit more luck dependent than your average Stefan Feld game, but still, it's a hit for me. That's Merlin. Next, at number 34, I have another party game with Wits and Wagers. This is an absolutely brilliant game where it's a trivia style game that plays quite a few players. I think the version I have plays up to 7 players, where you are basically guesstimating an answer. They're all numerical based questions. Everybody is simultaneously revealing their answer, putting them in chronological order, and then you're betting basically chips or poker chips or points that you've accumulated in prior rounds in order to get more points in return. So the cool thing about this is that you don't have to be good at trivia, you just have to guess on who you think would be, who would know the answer to the questions. Really fun, really quick, and just a fantastically simple party game that just works a treat. That is Wits and Wagers. At number 33, I had last year's number 10 with Through the Ages, A New Story of Civilization. This is a civilization kind of building game where you start off with absolutely, a bunch of spearmen and some really primitive buildings. And as the game develops, you're getting new technologies, more science to upgrade your buildings, get new kind of governments and get more actions and get new leaders in. Quite a heavy game, a lot's going on. The only reason it's fallen quite a bit for me is that it's near enough impossible to get to the table for me because it takes quite a long time. It takes 3-4 hours to play, and you need to be in the right mood to play as well because, as I said, it is a bit of a brain burner. There is a lot going on, and it's quite difficult to teach. But still, that's no fault of the game itself. The game itself is absolutely brilliant. So much to do, so much to think about, lots of strategies to explore, and it's just an absolutely fantastic game. That is Through the Ages. At number 32, I have another Reiner Knizia game with raah. Now, raah is a set collection style game. It's a pushy luck style game and also an auction style game. So basically, you are using these different tiles you have with different values on in order to collect these different sets of things, such as having the majority of something, or whoever's got. And at the end of the game, you can score points for sets and stuff like that. So lots of different kind of simple set collection methods. But it's a game that, as I said, uses those 3 different things: the bidding, the set collection, and also the pushy luck aspect to it as well. Because you've got to be really careful about when you're going to use all your bidding chips, because not only are they you're going to swap your bidding chip with one that's already on the board. So if you bid high, you might take quite a rubbish one for the next round. But also, if you draw these raah tiles, time runs out and you've only got a certain amount of time in order to get your bids in. So you've got a chance of kind of walking away with nothing. A fantastic classic game, and one that I highly recommend. That is raah. And finally, for this set of games, at number 31, I have Raccoon Tycoon. This is a fantastic little game that plays in about an hour. Has another auction style method to it. So as you can probably tell, I like my auction style games. You know, I've had 3 on this set alone with raah, For Sale, and now Raccoon Tycoon. But this one has a lot of kind of good speculation and kind of stocks aspect to it, where you are basically building up the value of these different commodities and then selling them for profit. You're getting new kind of technologies in order to make you better at the game, give you powers that no other person has. You're bidding on these cards in order to get these set collection bonuses. This is one of the smoothest games I have. It plays so quickly. Nice and elegant in terms of, you know, the decisions you have to make are very simple. You've just got to do one of, I think it's 4 things. So, you know, in terms of teaching it, it's very simple, but knowing what to do and when to do it is really interesting. Gorgeous artwork, and I just really like this one. Really did come out of the kind of blue for me, because I played a friend's copy. I wasn't expecting to, you know, think much of it, but I absolutely loved it and went out and bought myself a copy straight away. Great game, probably a medium light style game, but again with lots of interesting decisions to be made, and just tremendous fun. That is Raccoon Tycoon. So that concludes this next set of my top 10 games. So that was up to number 31. So join me next time as I'll be counting down from number 30 to number 21, where we'll get right into those top end of games there. So if you have enjoyed the review or enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe to my channel. Check out my other videos too. For everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.